Thomas! It's up for grabs now! Thomas!
Magic ball from Bergkamp to Patrick Vieira!
Oh, would you believe it? Oh, right, what a way to get it! Well,
Fabulous solo goal by Thierry Henry.
champions.
Good evening, everybody. A very, very warm welcome to the Arsenal Lounge. We've got a special show, as always, best show on Monday night with my fellow lounger Lev, Moh, and Tom. How are you doing, Lev?
I'm good, man. Just looking forward to getting back to talking about football. We've got a game in a couple of days. Not much else. I've kind of switched off from it for a while after the disappointment of the transfer window. So we'll see what comes today. But loving the curtains in commemoration of Afcon Lounge. Love it.
Whatever. Tom, how are you, man? You good?
Yeah, good man. Yourself?
Yeah, I'm all right. Not bad. How you been? Okay? Everything good?
Yeah, no, I'm bored without football. 18 days without Arsenal is disgusting. Like, it's just horrible.
It's good in a way. There's no disappointment.
Yeah,
no
but
stress.
when your 9 to 5 job is Arsenal, it's a struggle. I tell
Hey,
you.
hold on. 8 to 5. You're up from 8. You're doing the show
yeah,
from 8.
I suppose, yeah. It's 8 to 5, yeah. With this, I guess, see, it's 8 to 9, really. So, you know.
Yeah.
It's a long time talking about
Not
Arsenal.
getting paid
and there's
enough
no
for this,
Arsenal.
Tom.
Mo, how about you? You good?
Yes, I'm good. I mean, I hear what Tom's saying. Obviously, a long time without Arsenal. I can't wait for Arsenal to be back. But there's been football, There's been Afcon, there's been FA Cup, and there's been some real shocks and some good games and stuff. So, in a way, it's nice when you don't have the stress of being emotionally involved, but you get to see United getting knocked out by Middlesbrough and that sort of thing.
Yeah.
Then it can be quite a lot of fun. And just in case anyone doesn't understand the reference between the curtains and Afcon, like levels going on. Basically, the curtains behind Shaheen, he actually bought from Mara and Shamak when Shamak left Arsenal. So they're Moroccan curtains, and that's why we were talking about.
They're signed at the bottom, but you can't see it.
Are you guys
imagine
quite
that?
finished? Is it done? Let's bash
Signing
time. Is it
curtains.
finished now? Can we move on and talk about Arsenal? Yeah? We're done? Mo, anything else, Tom?
No, I just
This is
think
your
it's
last
cool.
chance.
It's a cool story. I'd love to have like curtains from my childhood idol in my house, but Ian Wright hasn't been selling any curtains recently. So
Yeah, well,
who's
these
your
curtains. It's either the
childhood
curtains
hero?
or a board or something.
What's that, Mo?
Who's your childhood hero? Who's your childhood icon that you'd love to buy
Oh.
second-hand curtains from?
Let us know in the chats, yeah? Who would you want your curtains from?
Yeah, I mean, Dennis Bergkamp comes pretty close to...
He'd have some nice curtains, wouldn't he?
Yeah, you wouldn't be able to take him on a plane. That's the only
Yeah,
thing.
true.
Yeah,
True. But they would be very slick, very high quality.
yeah. They just take a long time to arrive from Amsterdam. So, yeah.
I'd like my curtains with a little bit of vavavoom. Just put it
Do you
there.
know what? I don't know if this was on the menu tonight, Shaheen, but talking of curtains, it's taken us to Amsterdam and Dennis Bergkamp, and you think of Ajax, Mark Overmars.
Yeah.
No, that's some
Yeah.
segue.
And
guys.
everybody
How
wanted
the
him
hell-
at Arsenal, do you remember? Everyone was like, oh, we should have him instead of Edu and all that.
But you know what? It's a question that I've been contemplating recently with obviously what's happened with Mason Greenwood. But then you look at someone like Ryan Giggs, you look at Stan Collymore. There's a lot of people with in their past, unfortunately, I don't know what it is about football, if it's more prevalent in football circles than society as a whole, but violence against women. It's just it just feels like there's something. Well, you know what? I wouldn't even say just violence against women, because if we're including Mark Overmars in this, just mistreatment of women, some going really, really far. And obviously, we've seen an example within Arsenal fan circles as well recently.
I mean, the worst one, Mo, is Mendy.
Mendy's terrible. He's got 9
Yeah.
cases, isn't he, on the go now?
Yeah.
I don't understand. You in that position, you're a footballer, you're popular, you got a nice house, nice car, money. Why do you have the need of even attempting to rape somebody? Surely you go out in a nightclub, you can pick up girls, like if you can chat up girls. But why go that far?
Yeah, and I mean, look, the thing is, there's no explaining it. There's no point trying to explain it. But the other thing as well is, and what I wanted to come to on this, sorry to kind of take it away and
No, that's all right.
But Wraith Rovers signed David Goodwillie recently. Did you guys see that?
Yeah, unfortunately named as well, that.
I didn't say
Yeah.
that at all, actually.
he's been convicted in the past of rape, if I'm not mistaken. And for me, the question that I wanted to ask you guys is, at what point in football do we draw the line? Because we've seen Goodwillie signed again by a club, and we see Stan Collymore, who was guilty of being violent against Ulrika Jonsson, for example. He's now, a radio host. Goodwillie's being signed again. Ryan Giggs, he works in football, and he's been guilty of some disgusting crimes against women. Is there a line that we draw? And I kind of think to myself, with Mason Greenwood, we all seem to be kind of like saying, oh, he's not welcome back. But do you think that's the end of his career? Is the line drawn there? Where does it get drawn, if at all, ever? And where should it get drawn?
Well, the line should be same as everybody else, in my book. The same line that is for everyone should be same for footballers. There shouldn't be any different line for them, if you like. But I struggle to understand all of this. That why do you have the need of doing all that? And let's be fair. If you put the community of the footballers, the percentage of the guys who are actually committing these acts is very, very small. So it's not a reflection of all footballers. It's maybe you can count them with both fingers. But I don't understand the need for it. And the line for me, Mo, it should be same as everybody else.
Do you think it's because, sorry guys, but do you think it's because of who they are and their egos? And let's be honest, historically, these guys have gotten away with it before. And there was this stigma of women that chased footballers around and wanted to be wags and all of this. And there was a lot of incidents back in the day that always got brushed under the carpet. Do you think some of these lads, like your Greenwoods of this world, think because they're Mason Greenwood or because they're footballers, they'll get away with it? Or they can get away with treating people like this because they feel like maybe she's with him because he is a footballer?
Well, it's interesting because Mason Greenwood trains with, I don't know my chains on,
He's really uncomfortable with this situation as well.
Look, Mason Greenwood trains with Ronaldo every day, right? And Ronaldo has got a civil case ongoing against him. And it seems like with football, if the line gets drawn, it depends on your value, on your talent, on the money involved. And we started from Mark Overmars because I'd say what Mark Overmars has done, does the line get drawn there? Is he now cancelled? You'd say maybe not. It's messages, which still aren't acceptable, but perhaps there's a way back for him. With Mason Greenwood, you'd say perhaps if he is found guilty, because they have to go through their process and all that sort of stuff. And it's important to say that purely because lawyers always turn around and say you shouldn't prejudice the case and that sort of thing. But with him, if he's found guilty, is there a way back? With Goodwillie, clearly there was a way back, even though he got found guilty. I kind of feel like there needs to be a bit more consistency across the board in football to know how to deal with this sort of stuff. And I'd love for football to draw a really, really hard line and say we're going to be a role model to society rather than lagging behind and letting people get away with stuff.
Well, I predict Mason Green was going to get away with it. You heard it here. So let's see what happens with that.
Any thoughts, Tom?
I think that, look, footballers are... We started off this conversation by Mo asking me who was my icon growing up. And that's the thing, is that footballers are role models for youngsters. And I mean, for us, even when we think back to when we were kids and looking at the players that we grew up watching, and it's weird how prevalent and regular these kind of stories are coming out of late as well. And it's the same with kind of racism in football as well. Like, we used to talk about kind of the Kick It Out campaign and the trying to tackle racism in football. And yet I feel as if anything, the number of racist incidents has actually increased in the last, I don't really want to put a number on it, but it just feels like it's increased. Or we're becoming more aware of it, maybe because of the access through social media as well. So, but football's, we come here every Monday to talk about football, and obviously we're not always talking positively about it, but we're talking about Arsenal and we're talking about a sport that we love. And it's horrible that so many of these negative stories are so associated with the sport that we love to talk about, and that I have as a job every single day. And it's not great at all. But I think it's worthy to speak about honestly and critically when the times arrive. And I think we've done that pretty well.
Speaking of which, I saw a tweet that Lev did this morning. Have you seen?
Lev does a lot of
Alan Sugar's post. Have you seen Alan Sugar?
Yeah.
Is his first name Alan, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sir,
Yeah.
You see,
Yeah.
that can't be right, man.
He's the
Surely
first to
there is-
pipe up during
I was
that
surprised,
campaign.
man. Like, whoa.
During that campaign with Corbyn and Johnson, there was a lot of smear tactics, and he was one of the first and always up there prominent to try and point out anything anti-Semitic. And listen, any type of racism is disgusting, right? I've got Jewish friends, and I love them. They're great. They're great guys, and it's not about your race or your faith and your beliefs and all of that. But don't be calling out anti-Semitism on one hand and then posting something that's far, far worse.
Yeah,
Like
they're
far
both
worse.
forms of racism, aren't they? And
Yeah.
what his tweet is I don't think there's any debate. It's really racist. It's bang out of order.
Yeah, his anti-Semitism quotes were more based around people sort of questioning Israel's policies. And then they use that to shut you down and say anti-Semitism, which is not the same thing, right? However, what he did with this tweet was so racist. I just don't know how he gets away with it.
It's weird. Like, it is annoying when you see something as blatant as that. Well, why hasn't he had any repercussions? How's he got away with that?
How is he brought himself on tweeting that? Surely
Because
somebody
he's
in
in
his
the
place
clip.
would know. Have you seen it, Tom?
Yeah, I saw those tweet. Yeah, I think that first of all, I do think anti-Semitism and race. I think there isn't racism and anti-Semitism like the Jewish race. Like if you are anti-Semitic, is that not a form of racism in itself?
It's just racism. That's all it is.
Yeah,
It's
The thing
racism.
is, there's a lot of people that try and be very, very specific about the word racism. So
Right.
Judaism is a religion, not a race, so therefore it can't
No.
be racist. And people say that about Islamophobia and stuff. And they try and almost suggest that, because it's not racism, it's not that bad. But as far as I'm concerned, it's like it's the sibling of racism, or it's the cousin of racism. It's so close to it. Why would you want to do that anyway? It's very, very offensive, very, very
It's
wrong.
very misguided. But
Can you?
Wow,
can
this
you try
show
that, please?
started deep, right?
let's
by the way.
let's go back to Arsenal and what this show is
Welcome
about.
to
But
question
for-
time,
for
everyone.
there's people in the chat. They're saying what posts and that. Just go find Alan Sugar's Twitter, and you will see it. Or find Lev has retweeted it as well.
Oh, gee, yeah. Just send them all down to me.
Yeah, and then you'll see what this is about. Moving on.
Well, congrats to Senegal, though.
Say again.
Congrats to Senegal.
Yeah. Congrats, Senegal,
Commiserations
Senegal, for winning the Afcon. I watched the game. It was not the greatest of games, but they came through at the end. And
A lot of finals are like that.
and they won. And obviously, heartbreak for one of our own El Neni in the game. I thought he had a decent tournament, Mohamed El Neni.
Oh,
But
did
last
anyone
week,
see the
this
Man
time-
United? You know, wait, very quickly, Shaheen, as well. Do you know the Man United game that Mo mentioned earlier on that they got knocked out by Middlesbrough? That was brilliant. Did anyone see the tweet someone put out where the chap that came back from cancer, I can't remember his name, the one that actually scored the penalty, they put a heat map for his return, and the heat map was just a penalty spot because that's all he did the whole game. He just put the goal in. It was amazing. But anyway, that's it. That's what.
Yeah. So going back to last week, this time we were coming towards the end of transfer window, and we were talking about the transfer window, and everybody said what you hope or what you wanted to happen, and obviously all of us said, well, me and Tom were in a corner that nothing is going to happen. Lev was of an opinion that surely something must happen. They can't. It's impossible for them not to sign somebody, and Mo was very optimistic or hopeful that something
Mo
will
was
happen.
praying.
Yeah, that something will happen.
I was
And,
right.
Huh?
Yeah, we got Trusty.
Yeah.
Hold on. We did sign. What are you on about? Oh, we signed someone.
So you two were wrong. So what's your
Yeah.
point, Shaheen?
No,
Yeah,
we
I hold
signed
my
you.
hands up. I'm so sorry. Now we can, you can.
we told you.
This is your opportunity to say thank you to Edu.
We
Who
told
we
you.
signed, Lev?
And also, I think a big "I told you so" to you, Tom. I think,
Yeah, sure. I am. I feel really embarrassed right now.
We got Trusty,
listen.
Shaheen. Trusty.
going back to that conversation, right? So I want to now pick it up. Now we know, obviously, the transfer windows ended. We know the business. How do you feel about that, Mo?
Honestly, I'm really devastated. To be honest with you, I'm really, really upset by it. Clearly, on the day, it really got to me because I really, truly feel like they're gambling with our season. And even before the transfer window, we were due to play Tottenham in early January or whenever it was, and I was talking about that game as a game with huge ramifications because I felt like the winner of that game would make themselves the favourite, the front runner for that fourth spot. Whoever gets that fourth spot out of Arsenal and Tottenham this season, Man United aren't as affected by it because they're a commercial powerhouse. But whoever gets out of Arsenal and Tottenham this season could really see that kind of like that power side with one of them based on the financial freedom it gives you. What will happen to Antonio Conte, for example, if Arsenal get it and he disappears versus them getting it, getting the financial firepower, convincing Kane and Son to stay, Conte staying. There's a lot of other things that are linked to this. And I feel like for Arsenal to gamble with our fourth place chances in the way that they have has really upset me. But on the other hand, now I've come to terms with it. It is what it is. And I feel like all we can do now is get behind the team, really, really pray that we don't get hit with COVID or injuries or suspensions or anything unlucky like that. Even other teams getting COVID and bunching up our games where we're more likely to get injuries. There's a lot of things that can happen this season. And I'm really, really hoping that, these guys, Edu, Vinay, Mikel Arteta, all of them, even if they don't deserve that luck, even if maybe long run, it might be better to get more competent, better custodians who will manage our squad better, manage the transfer windows better. I can't wish in the short term anything negative for Arsenal for the long-term game. Some people can. Some fans find it easy to say, if we lose this game, it will be better because then Emery will go or Arteta will go or Wenger will go. And they talk about that. And I can never, ever do that. I just hope we continue to ride our luck. I'd rather be lucky until the day Arsenal, don't exist anymore. Do you know what I mean? And hopefully we get lucky and finish fourth this season when they get out of jail. But I won't be giving them any credit if we do for this transfer window. The credit will be earned by the players and I guess the manager in the remaining 17 games that we have if we go and do it.
Okay, Lev, what about you? Just your thoughts on the business that was not done. Because I'm going to come to the Aubameyang, etc.
Listen, as I said, I was extremely disappointed. To be honest, this last week or so, I've just switched off from it all because I was that disappointed that my coping mechanism is just to try and forget it and move on from it. The one thing I am concerned about is Mo's mentioned, look, we're going to be relying on luck. Well, one thing that Arsenal never seem to have when it comes to injuries and things like that is luck. Decisions at crucial times, luck. We don't really have the rub of the green. Whatever you want to call it, whether it's officials, whether it's, just the way it is for us, I don't know. But just purely putting your hopes onto the fact that, for the next 17 games, all our squad will remain healthy, we'll get the goals required. That's where, I think we've made a huge mistake. We had a great opportunity to sort of jump ahead of some of the guys that we thought we were trailing behind. For whatever that reason, we had a chance to grab it by the horns, and I think it's a missed opportunity. I'm saving my frustration and my anger for the coming weeks and months, and hoping that I'm proven wrong. But I don't know. We are basically threadbare.
Okay, I'm more or less in a similar boat as you guys, and I'm also very disappointed with the lack of transfers. I just think. I have no problem with the players who've left. That's fine. No problem, right? But the idea that you let go of that number of players and that there is no substitute, there is nobody coming in, and you've got a very, very thin squad now, it's a massive, massive risk. What concerns me, and I said this last time as well, what really, really, it frightens me actually, it doesn't concern me, is the fact that none of Edu, Vinay or Arteta feel any heat or any pressure whatsoever from the owners or from anybody that they can take such massive risks, because no other manager or director of football or managing director in any other club, right, will take such risk unless they are so sure of their jobs. And we used to complain about Arsene Wenger having too much authority, too much power, and it seems to me that we've repeated the same thing with Mikel Arteta again, and it seems like every time he has a little falling out with somebody or he doesn't like something about a player, the easiest option is, right, you're frozen out, you're off, off you go. We're quite happy to write off your transfer value. If anything, just leave, just go train on your own, and out you go. So that's my thoughts on that, and I'm going to come back to this player
Shaheen,
situation.
very quickly. I mean, the thing that stood out for me most, the comment that stood out for me most, was on our show last week. Mo really eloquently put it: if you're not going to add, then why take away? That was it's stuck in my head for a long time. Now I get we had Deadwood to get rid of. I'm totally with that. But if you're not going to add, keep some that will benefit you. Ainsley Maitland-Niles would have benefited us. If you're not getting any goals, would it really have killed us to keep Aubameyang until the end of the season, just in case? Even as an impact striker coming off the bench with 20 minutes to go,
I'm going to come to Aubameyang, right? Because I know you want to talk about Aubameyang as well, and I will come to that. Just before that, Tom, I've left you last because obviously you're in the journalism and world, and you might have heard things from transfer window until today of maybe certain things that went on behind closed doors, or what was the thought process of these guys that they didn't make any signings, and obviously your thoughts on the lack of transfer as well.
On deadline day, I was very frustrated. I mean, the day after deadline day, I was very frustrated. In fact, I wrote a piece which was the 15 players that moved during the January window that we missed out on. And all of those players that I listed, they're all players that they're kind of squad depth players. They're players that would add to the team, replace and strengthen kind of our depth positions. But they weren't players, bar Bruno Guimaraes, that would have improved on the existing kind of starting option for us, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
And I suppose in the week of reflection since that deadline day, I do look back and from kind of looking at it from the most positive angle I can, is that at least we didn't do the classic Arsenal thing of panicking. At least we didn't panic buy. At least we didn't Andre Santos it. At least we didn't go and just, throw a load of money at someone or pay, say, Isak's release clause. Because I don't think Isak is worth £75 million, personally. I think he's around half of that figure. If that. Yeah. I think you're looking at a £40 million player, and I mean, he scored 4 goals. I don't think he even started for Sociedad at the weekend. I think he's out of form, out of touch at the moment. So I'm happy that we didn't panic and we didn't do something silly. And it might be that what we do during this window allows us to do something that we wouldn't have been able to do had we have done something silly in the summer. And I know that that's a horrible kind of perception of looking at it from the point of that we want us to succeed now. We want us to give ourselves the best chance of getting into the Champions League, and I do. And if we'd have been able to go out and say buy Jonathan David for 50 million, or go out and buy a DCL for 50 million, I would have said, yeah, great. Or an Isak for 40 million, great. But I am, in reflection, pleased that we didn't do anything stupid. And I know that some people might say, well, not buying anyone was stupid. But I do think that not panicking and breaking away from some of the previous mistakes. I mean, Shaheen, I sent you an article before we came live that shows that we
didn't send me one.
Sorry, mate. It was just, it just happened. 1.029 billion
Let me just
euros.
read that 1 second. So Arsenal basically money spent 1.029 billion
euros.
Money earned 446 million. So we've got a deficit of 583 million pounds. I don't think that includes 56 million pounds we spent on Aubameyang, or the 45 million we're going to write off again on Lacazette.
It doesn't include the wages we spent on Willian or Cedric or players like this either. But that's the figures since 2012.
I'm just going to say, you guys are talking my language right now. Give me more.
They're the figures since 2012.
Accountant porn.
I think that was, you know, I know that we had the whole we spend, you spend thing, which Mo, I know you'll know about very well, and I used that in a piece today that's coming out early in the morning, because it feels a long time since we used slogans like we spend, you spend, because Arsenal have spent. Arsenal have spent a ridiculous amount of money, and with the third highest spending in the Premier League since 2012. Only Liverpool and Man City have spent more than us, and it's been about who we've spent that money on that's been the issue. We've improved the squad. We've added to the squad is the right word, not improved. We've added to the squads over the last 9 years, but we've not spent that wisely. And so when I look back on that and I compare those years from 2012 to say 2020, which was kind of the start of the turning point with Gabriel and Partey, but still some errors with Willian and Runnison, etc. And then I look at 2021 and I see the 6 signings that we made. I don't feel like I'm going to include those 6 signings in, say, 5 years' time when I look back at mistakes in spending. I'm happy with those 6 signings. I think they'll go on to, you know, what's the right words? Make do on the investment that we put in them. So I am looking back at January and going, well, at least we didn't revert to type with Arsenal. And actually, you know, we're moving in a more positive direction, even if we didn't, say, bring in the player that we could rightfully argue we needed.
Can I just...
Tom, go on.
Thanks, Lev. I just want to say, like, you know, Tom, you made the point that we didn't just waste money and we weren't stupid, even though you made the point that some people might say it was stupid to not sign anyone. I'd say that this is not your typical fan getting angry because club don't spend money. You know, this is not that sort of spend some money, very like lack of depth, annoying thing that fans do. This is about me saying, stupid would have been to go and pay Isaac's release clause. I understand that. I'm glad Arsenal didn't do that. But I don't think it's stupid that we didn't add anyone. The stupid thing was that in spite of not adding people, we still got let go of so many people. So for me, it's reckless versus stupid. And had we kept the players and not signed anyone, I would have been like a little bit frustrated. We haven't pushed on. That's what Man United haven't done. That's what West Ham haven't done. That's what Chelsea haven't done. You know, Tottenham, they added a couple of players, but no one really significant. So you can say all of our rivals for that top 4 spot, they haven't really done much that would make them the standout favourites for that 4th spot. They also did nothing stupid in terms of paying the odds, but they didn't do anything reckless in terms of stripping their squad bare.
So I think Man United did a bit, didn't they?
Pardon?
They've got a big squad, though, haven't they?
They have got a big squad, but I think Man United let go. I mean, I would keep going, Mo, but I feel like Man United were a team that had a bit of a weird window.
Yeah, they let go of Van der Beek. But the point is, they haven't got themselves down to the point where they're now threadbare. You know, I asked the question, I always ask this question, who is Arsenal's second choice centre-back pairing? You know, if the first 2 are out. We've got Rob Holding and that's 2 threadbare. So this is my issue. I don't mind. I like the fact that Arsenal weren't stupid. I don't mind them not wasting the money, but you shouldn't have been reckless with it. You know, and I wish that our squad management was a lot better, and the people that were in charge, you know, have they really had experience of fighting for something in the business end of a season? Have they had that experience? Because I don't think the top managers like a Pep, like a Klopp, a Wenger, a Ferguson, the people that have been there and understand the demands mentally and physically of that fight where every game is just harder because there's so much riding on it and injuries are more susceptible to it and all of that sort of stuff. I don't think they would have felt comfortable going into that period of the season with this squad.
Can I just say something as well? Because I was waiting, Shaheen. Yeah. The fact is, like, I understand what Tom's saying in regards to Deadwood. I don't want any more Deadwood at the club, and I think we have panic bought over the seasons. I mean, I think Spurs, the 2 players they brought in, I don't think they really wanted them, to be very frank and honest with you. I don't think they're really going to set the world alight. But when you get someone like a Bruno Guimaraes, who's clearly going to improve your midfield and strengthen you and be a long-term addition, not a panic buy, that's where I ask questions. Why has he ended up at a team 3 places from the bottom? We're fighting for top 4. Surely, and London, it's in London. Surely it would have been an easy sell for him. Okay, so that's where I'm a bit miffed about it. I don't want us to panic buy it. And secondly, with COVID, anything can happen right now, right? You lose a couple of players, you might not have four, you might not have enough to cancel a game, but all you need is your front line to be hit, and we're in trouble. And that's where I'm a bit concerned.
Yeah, I mean that's a fair point, Lev. But I think from what I would say to that, maybe they've looked at that and they said, listen, we only got 17 games to end of the season, 1 game a week.
So then keep hold of a couple.
Yeah, well, yeah. Obviously, I'm not defending them, and maybe Arteta has shown in the past he's not going to drop Granit Xhaka, he's not going to drop Thomas Partey, and then Ramirez would have come in an already packed midfield. But this is what I want to talk to you guys about, and I'll start off with you, Mo. I'm going to refer to these to Mikel Arteta, Edu, and Vinay as the recruitment team. So when I say recruitment team, that means all 3 of them because they are part of the recruitment team. It seems to me, Lev, that Mo, that it's kind of accepted in Arsenal, right? That we just let the players walk away for free, or if the manager doesn't fancy it, instead of us working to get a transfer value of some sort for the player, or the manager actually spending time with the player, be a manager. For example, a Matteo Guendouzi type, right? We signed Guendouzi for, if I'm not mistaken, 7 million. First season and a half at Arsenal, he was valued at 54 million pounds, right? I thought he did okay, right? And then, boom, one incident, Brighton, guy is gone, right? So no time, nothing has been spent with the guy. He's a young man. He's a young man who needs help and guidance and support. And the easiest option, the easy way out for me, or it seems to me, is that we'll loan him out. Let's get rid of him. Aubameyang. Actually, let me leave Aubameyang to last. Torreira is not settling well. Let's loan him out. William Saliba. Let's loan. He's been here for 3 years, and he has not played one professional game for Arsenal. Right? Who else? Nicolas Pepe. One incident, one red card, he's benched. But others, they get free pass over and over again, and that is wrong for me, right? I put a tweet out earlier during the week, and Tom obviously responded to it. Arsenal have written off £199.5 million worth of players, and that does not include Aubameyang and Lacazette. Because Lacazette is going to walk away for free, right? That is given. So how is this accepted? Yeah, El Neni as well. El Neni was about £4 million signing. Why and how is this accepted, Mo? And now we're in a position that comes summer, right? I have a feeling that one of Saka, Martinelli, or Saliba will be sold, and the excuse will be that we need to generate money.
Well,
Saliba, maybe.
The thing is, people now have cottoned on to the fact that it's not just about the transfer fee. Really, it's the wages. That's what kind of you're stuck with at the end of it. And as players get older and older, their wages increase. Generally, there is obviously a bit of a peak, but someone like Lacazette now, you look at him, and I think it's safe to say he's not now going to drastically improve. If anything is likely, he'll either maintain his level or decrease slightly. I don't think he'll massively improve, right? He's been at Arsenal long enough. He's 30 or close to 30, around
31, I think.
When Arsenal now look at the market and they say, when he wants to sign a contract now, he's going to be looking for that 3-year deal because, it's one of his last contracts. Yeah. No footballer hitting 30 is going to want to risk a 1 or 2 year deal. They get injured and then their wage value plummets or they can't get another contract. They look out for themselves. If Arsenal want to sign Lacazette and avoid him adding to that 199.5 million that you just referred to and keep him at the club, they're going to have to meet or beat his contract or get very close and also make it a 3-year deal. And then you think to yourself, can you get better value for money on the market out there when it comes to wages? The transfer fee is one thing, but just on the wage structure. You look at a Martinelli and a Smith Rowe and a Saka. I would guess their 3 wages combined wouldn't be that far off. Lacazette right now. So value for money on a week-by-week basis, Lacazette is not giving us that value for money. And I would agree with Arsenal if they allowed him to leave on a free. The point is, though, it should never come this close to his contract
That's
where
my point.
we do not receive any transfer fee for him.
I remember, Mo, sorry to interrupt you. I remember after Aaron Ramsey, right, they came out and said, oh, we'll bring in this Richard Garlick or X, Y, and Z to make sure nothing like this happens again. And how many players after that, or they're going to, or they're going to walk away for free?
But you see, the thing is, Lacazette, when his contract was signed, when did Richard Garlick come in relation to that? Because I'd say that anyone that signed a contract with Richard Garlick being there, if he's the guy who is now in charge of this, we can judge him on that. But if I was Richard Garlick and I came in and I saw that Lacazette's on 200 grand a week and he's got 2 years left of the deal, what really can I do then? There'll be loads of clubs in Europe that will say, yeah, I'll take a Lacazette, but not at 200 grand a week. And I know that he might be available for us to talk to in 18 months, for example, or 1 year. And I think that's a problem that might be, I wouldn't fancy that. If I came into Arsenal as a negotiator, I wouldn't fancy trying to, figure out that conundrum. But what I have seen is that we've been quite proactive about the younger players, about the Smith Rowes and the Sakas and the Martinellis. It seems like we're ahead of the curve with those contracts. So I think there has been an improvement on us when it comes to Arsenal, though our track record has been awful. But one example I would give is Nicolas Anelka, because we talk about Guendouzi, even Aubameyang, for example, falling out with the manager. The other thing that does is it decimates their transfer value. Now, I look at Nicolas Anelka. We signed him for $500,000, but when we sold him, we got good money for him. Back then, 23.5 million for someone as young and as unproven, even though he was an incredible talent, was incredible business, and it paid for London Colney. So we've all got Arsene Wenger to thank for that. But my point is, Nicolas Anelka was Le Sulk. He would have annoyed Arsene Wenger no end in that time that he was at Arsenal. But Arsene Wenger, this guy has got a degree in economics. I'm not sure if it's a master's or an undergrad.
I think psychology as well, Mo.
Yeah, exactly. Very intelligent person, both emotionally and also world of business as well. And he just managed to keep things in-house. And what that does in turn is it protects a player's transfer value. Yes, we sold him to Real Madrid. Arsene Wenger would have liked to have kept him, nurtured him, had the talent, but couldn't do that because he was a bit of a difficult character. But he protected his transfer value. Now, only if Arsenal had done that with Aubameyang, and only if we had done that with like Guendouzi, for example, we might be in a better position to get a decent transfer value, or even go and get a swap deal out of it, or something of that nature. And this is where I feel like the current crop, the team, as you call it, the management team, as you call it, or the recruitment team, they need to do a better job of keeping things in-house, protecting transfer values. So a time like this, we can, instead of letting Aubameyang go on a free, go out there and say, Real Madrid or whoever the hell it might be, even Barcelona, whoever the hell it might be, Aubameyang's a little bit homesick, or he give a smokescreen reason. Aubameyang, his head has been turned, he wants to move to Spain, blah, blah, blah. Do you have any players that we could talk about, rather than decimating their value? That is my massive issue with Arsenal at the moment.
And you're spot on. Lev, following up from what Mo said, the conundrum of Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang, right? Today, I've seen a lot of pictures that the guy has actually got a tattoo in his arm of Arsenal, he in an Arsenal shirt with his kids and everything. I didn't know that. And his comment that said, I didn't want to cause trouble, I was fine, my only problem was Mikel Arteta. What do you make of that, one? Two, how do you think that reflects on Arsenal and Mikel Arteta? Because that's not the first time something has happened. As I said earlier, it seems when there is an issue with a player, the easiest option is you're frozen out and unsold.
Well, firstly, very quickly to touch on what Mo was just saying with regards to, the era when Wenger was around, and they get the likes of Anelka very, very cheap, very early on, like Vieiras of this world and all that. We were known for being able to get players and then sell them on and make huge profit. And that Wenger was revered for that, for time. One of the problems we've had is maybe the types of players we've been getting haven't been good enough to be able to sell on later on. I don't think anyone wanted the Wood of Deadwood we've had. But moving on to what you're saying with regards to Aubameyang, this raises the question in my head as to, are we getting rid of players because they have issues, like, you know, they're not the right type of people that we want in the club, or they haven't got the right attitude? At what point do we start saying it's a player issue, or is it a manager issue? And the reason I say this is because the one thing we do know about Arteta is he's inexperienced. This is his first management role. It's not the same as being a coach. You coach, you deal with the day-to-day stuff on, you know, on the training ground, and you deal with players. Yes, you do, but you don't deal with the nitty-gritty, which the manager then pulls you aside and has to maybe put an arm around one player or get tough with another. Is this a situation where maybe he hasn't got enough in the armory to be able to adapt to different types of personalities and players, and because of his ego, maybe he just says, get out if you're not listening to me, and maybe he has to refine that? Are we victims of that? Is that what's going on with Aubameyang? Is that what he's hinting at? I'm not quite sure, but it does raise questions when you start looking at the list. That you can argue about deadwood, but I wouldn't call Torreira deadwood and Guendouzi deadwood, and I wouldn't have called Saliba deadwood. There was question marks about their attitudes, but this is where I keep coming back to the same question: is it the players' attitudes? Did we just really not go for the right type of people, the right type of fit characters, or is this coming back to Arteta at maybe not having the refined skills to be able to manage different characters?
Yeah. Let me just read out this super chat from Perry. Thank you, Perry, for your support always. I see you always in the chat and in Twitter as well. Thank you for your support and your super chat. Lacazette has never scored 20 goals or more for Arsenal in his fifth season, and he's on £200,000 a week. We shouldn't offer him a new contract. I don't think Arsenal will offer him a new contract now. Tom, have you heard anything that is like behind the scene kind of thing about on Aubameyang? Because the way this whole thing unfolded, right, and we all discussed this last week as well, it seems that whatever the issue is way more than him turning up late a couple of times or going away, coming back late. It was that major, or the fallout was such a fallout that there was no way back for him. So since they stripped him of the captaincy, he never played for Arsenal. And my understanding is, and correct me if I'm wrong, is Arsenal are paying some of his salary until end of the season. So we're actually paying some of his salary. That I mean,
7 million.
7 million, right? To end of the season. So we're paying 7 million to Barcelona, right? And we're just saying, listen, just take this guy. This is so bad, and we're going to pay you 7 million as well. Just take this guy. We don't want him around. What can it be? Because the guy clearly loves Arsenal. If he's got a tattoo of Arsenal on his hand, right, him in an Arsenal shirt, right, that means he's got love for the club, and he's had a good time here. You know, he's won Golden Boot, he's won the FA Cup. Fans love him. I'm puzzled, man.
Well, whilst you guys were talking, it sparked a memory, kind of thinking about when Aubameyang signed his contract literally just over a year ago. And he said, 2 things persuaded me to stay. The first thing was Mikel Arteta, because since he came in, he brings a lot of positivity and a new philosophy for us. I think that was important because it matched my game, and I feel that I can improve with him. I think this was the key factor, and as well, the love that I received from the fans and the whole club. The first thing he mentions is Mikel Arteta a year ago as to the key reason why, instead of going, there was interest from Barcelona then that he could have moved. I think there was supposed interest from Italy as well at the time. He could have moved on. He could have gone somewhere else. Yeah. And he didn't. And he credits Mikel Arteta as the reason, the first reason why he's staying. I struggle with his comments when he spoke at his Barcelona unveiling. It was an opportunity to kind of just, be water under the bridge and just move on from Arsenal, and he didn't. He used the opportunity to send a jab in the direction of Mikel Arteta. When he says, the only problem was him. Just a year after, he lauded that guy for being the main reason why he signed his new deal with Arsenal. it just doesn't really add up for me. Not in favour of Aubameyang at all. I don't mind Arsenal having to offload this amount of players. I think that, as we've already discussed, with that 1 billion euros that we've spent on players, we've made a lot of errors. And if it costs us a bit more to significantly overhaul the squads and have a group that is all looking in the right direction, all united under one banner, and it's all very much, on board with the philosophy of whatever coach is in charge, not just Arteta, but whoever comes next as well, then I'm fine with that, because it means that we don't have the disruption, we don't have the controversies that we've had in the past, we don't have the Guendouzi situation, we won't have a repeat of the Aubameyang situation. And if we do start having those things again, then yes, we can absolutely look at the coach. If we start having issues with Gabriel Magalhaes or with Nuno Tavares or with Martin Ødegaard, players that have signed under this regime of Edu and Arteta, then absolutely we can start having a conversation about things. Like the Willian situation, I think was a learning curve for the club. And I think that Willian spoke about it on that podcast he did with Rio Ferdinand. He realised very quickly that this wasn't for him. I think the club realised very quickly that it wasn't for them either. And that's why they came to a mutual agreement to terminate his contract in 2021. I'm fine with the way that things have gone down with the players we've moved on. Yes, sure, I'd like to have got a bit more money for those players. And I think you referenced the Aaron Ramsey thing. The Aaron Ramsey thing did happen immediately before the pandemic hit as well. So to try and sell these players on huge wages to, let's face it, the continent, because Premier League sides aren't going to be going for these players, which are only the real clubs that can afford those similar types of wages. It's really difficult to sell players during this period of time. And I always kind of ask the question, and I still struggle to find someone who gives me an answer. How do you sell a player that no one wants to buy? And I don't know how you do it. I'm not, and that's why I'm not I'm a technical director of a football club. Yeah. I don't know how you sell a player that no one has an interest in. Barcelona only took Aubameyang if we paid those wages. Sorry,
Tom, that's what I was referring back to. Is you've hit the nail on the head, Tom. That's what I was saying before. We were talking about all the players that we've been letting sort of leave for free, but a lot of those players, I don't think anyone wanted them.
But I guess
we couldn't sell them.
The other way to do that, Tom, that I can come up with is to swap him for another player that no one wants to buy. So,
But do we want that player? Probably not.
No, but let's say Luka Jovic, for example. At Real Madrid, not doing anything, 12 league appearances all season. Benzema's on the form of his life. Vinicius is playing brilliantly. He's not getting a look in that team. Real Madrid might look at that and say, all right, fine. I'd rather look at something like that. And sometimes just a change of scenery, just change of location can reinvigorate both players. So Aubameyang going over there. In fact, I think Real Madrid rather than Barcelona was his actual dream.
He told his granddad or something that he'll play for them.
Yeah. And I just kind of feel like maybe exploring some avenues like that could perhaps have been something interesting. It doesn't even need to be striker. We need a midfielder. Surely there's a midfielder out there. If we rack our brains, we can kind of think of someone that's not getting enough game time.
It's hard, though, isn't it?
It is hard. I
just don't think you will find someone.
I just think, when you say the player that nobody wants to buy, right? I'd rather get 4, 5, 6, 7 million pounds for a player.
How? When no one will pay that? No one's going to pay.
I'm sure somebody.
Would you pay 5 million for Mustafi when we let him go? Would you pay 5 million for Socrates? No.
Would you have paid 25 million for him when he?
Would you pay 34 million for Mustafi?
We couldn't even get rid of Xhaka in the window for less than for more than 12.
Roma were only willing to pay like 9 million quid for Xhaka. I mean, look, for all of his failings, he's worth more than that. We can be as satirical as we like about Granit Xhaka, and you can dislike him for his errors.
20 mil.
I'm sorry. But I would have been saying it's 20 mil or nothing. He's 20 mil or you can't have him. He's under contract. We had the option to
Oddly enough, Tom, Granit Xhaka is also on the verge of walking away for free because he's got, a year left now? Because they did 1 year extension.
Didn't he, last summer. So he'll have 2, I think he got 2 to 3, I think he has 2 years left in the summer.
Does he?
I think he has 2 years left. Saliba, though, you brought up Saliba. The Saliba one's just kind of like an enigma, isn't it, really? It's such a...
He's now, sorry to interrupt you, Tom, but he's now in a position where they've got to make a decision on him this summer.
They absolutely do, yeah.
So
Well,
they
his
either
team's
need to
just
sell
gone
him.
into second, Shaheen, and he's been named in the French best 11, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
what
I mean,
are we doing?
he's got 2 years left on his contract. So they either need to sell him
Yeah.
now this summer, right? Which I think they will probably do,
I
or
don't. I think he'll stay.
extend
He's
his
coming.
contract, right?
Because they'll try
next
to
season
extend
it will
it,
be last
Shaheen.
year, and then it will have no value.
Yeah,
Go on,
the
Tom.
thing is with him is the difference between this loan at Marseille and the Nice loan is that he's shut up. Basically, is the difference. Like he's not done the interviews, he's not entertained any question about Arsenal. He's just focused on Marseille, focused on getting minutes, focused on playing regularly, which is something he wasn't doing prior to his loan at Marseille at Nice. Sorry. And I think actually, ironically, we may look back if he say comes into the team as integrated. We may look back on this whole Saliba fiasco and go, actually, giving him 18 months of regular game time in France was the best thing that we ever did for Saliba. And he comes back in the summer, gets integrated into the first team squad, and he plays. Like I look forward to that. And the club's intention is to keep him. But if say that can't happen and we do end up selling him, that's the cornerstone of our sales under Edu. It'll be how much money we get for Saliba. Because if we get lower than what we paid, then the knives will be out quite rightly for that decision if we fail to get. Because he's a player that's worth upwards of that amount that we paid now. Because he's improved since then.
Definitely. Mo, what's your take on Aubameyang and everything that has unfolded? That's one. Two, and obviously this is for you two as well. What if in the summer Liverpool comes in for Saka or Martinelli to replace Mane, and they offer Arsenal serious money? Where would that be?
I'll take the latter first. I do not want to see Arsenal be a selling club. We don't need to sell anymore. So I don't want to strengthen.
What if the board turn around and say we need to sell to generate money?
Well,
They come in. Let's say they come in for, they come in with, I don't know, 75, 80 million pounds for Gabriel Martinelli.
Yeah. So who are we buying?
Come again?
Who are we going to buy with that? The only point we're going to get money in is to go and spend the money. If Arsenal go in, get someone with as much potential as Gabriel Martinelli, who's that going to be? I don't know. I don't think we'll be able to. I want to have one of the best prospects in European football in Gabriel Martinelli rather than 75 quid in the bank. Simple as
Okay,
that.
but that's a fair point. But one question, Mo, would you be surprised if they sold him for 80 million pounds?
Would I be surprised? I think yeah, I would. I think I would because.
Well, that was a reluctant yes.
Because you never know with the Cronkies, right? And they don't have much ambition, and I kind of feel like it's very hard to tell with them. But I think they would just keep him because I don't think we need to sell. Like, not spending is one thing, but he's a fantastic prospect, and I kind of feel like the ceiling, his ceiling is so high. And going back to the Aubameyang question, I was a bit disappointed with him. I felt like he was very disingenuous the way he covered it in his press conference. He could have done himself a favour and just kind of said, look, out of respect for my old club, I'm not going to speak about that. I'm just going to focus on the positive aspects of my new club. And he could have done that. I think that would have been a very classy approach. Instead, his version of events, what really I thought was stupid about it was that he started from Arteta wasn't happy, blah, blah. And it's like, whoa, what? Wait a second. So you came to training one day and Arteta wasn't happy, just like that. Nothing happened before that. You think that we're that naive and that stupid that Arteta just one day wasn't happy. You can't start the story midway through and really expect us to believe that that was the starting point of this whole episode. So be a little bit sincere about it. Don't take us for idiots. At least speak about the fact that you don't have to go into detail, but you could have at least said, look, yeah, I made some mistakes, or I did, I acted in a way that Mikel Arteta didn't like, and as a result of that, he wasn't happy. But don't make it sound like this was all Arteta who just one day wasn't happy. That, I think, is an insult to our intelligence as fans. But, I can understand Aubameyang not wanting to say that, not wanting to implicate himself in a press conference at his new club and have to make that admission that, yeah, I could have acted in ways that would have kept Arteta happy, but unfortunately wasn't happy with me. I can understand him not wanting to say that, then don't say anything at all. And this is where I felt like he let himself down.
Yeah. We've got quite a few number of people watching, so please, guys, hit the like button. It really help us. If you're liking the content, please hit the like. Subscribe to Arsenal Lounge if you're new. Subscribe to the Gooner Talk TV. Tom does daily shows, and subscribe to Mo as well. Mo Hader channel. You can hear Mo talk about games and after game reactions. We send a fan cam to Mo's channel as well, and obviously you can hear Mo's thoughts on games as well. And I just want to put this to people on the chat, and if you're watching this on a replay, write for us in the comments as well. Would you be surprised if, for example, Liverpool comes in for £80 million for Martinelli and Arsenal sell him? So let us know in the chat and on the comments. We've got a game in 3 days' time.
Yeah.
Lev, Wolves away. We were supposed to discuss this, but this conversation dragged on so much, and it's a very interesting
We've covered
conversation.
everything. Politics, world problems.
Yeah, we did. What's your thoughts on the Wolves game?
Firstly, I'd like to ask you a question, Shaheen. Why do you live in negative land? And that's coming from Neil Salisman. Yeah, you're always living. You're living in negative land, bro.
No, man. What the club has done for me to positive.
So we're selling off Martinelli. Everything is negative.
These are all talking points, man.
No, we're not selling Martinelli, by the way. I'm just letting you know that. I don't think that's going to happen. I think we're going to this is the best bunch of youngsters we've had in a long, long time, and we're going to add to that and build the team. Yeah, we're going to build around it. You clip it.
Destroy you, Lev.
Double action, clip it. I don't care. But with regards to the game, it'll be nice to see us playing again. What we're going to get, I don't know. This is really crazy because with everything that's happening in the transfer window, usually this game would be like, oh, we've got Wolves coming up. It wouldn't, we'd be hoping for a result. But now there's an added pressure on Arsenal based on this transfer window, in my opinion. If they lose this game, which strangely enough I've predicted we could do, and that's very, very unlike me, but it'd be the most Arsenal thing to do after not going out in the transfer window, to go out and lose our first game back, maybe lose a midfielder or lose our striker for the rest of the season. It's very typical Arsenal. So I'm really concerned as to how we're going to approach this game, but I'm hoping that we, with our full 11, I do expect us, to do well. But it's just a very Arsenal thing to do, to come out and lose, and that's my concern.
Tom?
Yeah, no, I think Lev's pretty spot on there. It would be very Arsenal of us to go. Yeah, I'm confident, as always, optimistic. I think that we'll have everyone, maybe bar Tomiyasu, available, although there is hope that he hopefully will be fit, but there's a lot of question marks. Apparently someone spotted him in the warm weather training camp doing some light exercises. I can't confirm whether that's the case. I haven't seen that. I had that confirmed, but the idea was for him to be, returning in and around this game. If it's not this one, it should definitely be Brentford. I think that everyone that played in that City game and that City performance, bar Tommy, should be there. And so really, we've got the ability and the capabilities to really go at Wolves. We've had a lot of time off. Wolves played this weekend against Norwich, badly, by the way. We've been hailing Wolves all season, but they were bad against Norwich, really quite poor. And I mean, they started pretty much their first strength team. Only Raul Jimenez and Jose Sarr, the keeper, were on the bench from their usual 11. So, and Norwich were the better side and deserved to go through. So I think that any pressure that was on Wolves is completely diminished now, and the pressure is certainly going to be on Arsenal to win this, and we can't really afford not to, because if they win it, they go above us in the table, and they've played the same amount of games of us as well. So that would reflect them having the better portion of the season than us after that, if they beat us after that game. So we need to make sure we come away and put ourselves 5 points clear, I think it would be, of them, and push on towards it. I mean, we've got them again in just over a week's time as well, because of the rescheduled game. So getting a big win over them would knock their confidence, and it would psychologically be a big boost going into the next one. And to be honest, we've got some really winnable games coming up. So if we can get some momentum, when those rescheduled fixtures against Spurs and Chelsea and Liverpool come up, we'll go into those games with, sure, Liverpool is going to be really tough, and Chelsea as well. We're not going to expect to win those games. But at least if we can go into those with some kind of form and momentum, we can have a bit of belief and, expect a little bit of maybe the Man City flair that we saw. And you never know, you can come out a result. But every game of these last 17 fixtures is a cup final now for us. Every single one of them is a cup final, and we can't afford to not win.
I agree. Mo, what about you? What's your thoughts on the game?
Listen, if we, after that transfer window, Arsenal are lucky that there's been a long enough gap for people to just kind of calm down and the sting of that disappointment to be removed from the forefront of our minds. But I think if we do have a couple of negative results back to back, that will return. And that transfer window conversation will be at the forefront again for a lot of Arsenal fans, and it could get quite toxic. I'm hoping that we avoid that. And away from home, it's going to be tough. Obviously, with Wolves, they're playing really well now with the new manager. They have weakened their team with the sale of Adama Traore. For me, he's actually one player. He's one of my favourite players to watch in the entire league because it's not that he's the best. Don't get me wrong. Obviously, he's not a Kevin De Bruyne, but he is just ridiculous. He's the sort of player that, it's like, he's like a novelty player in a way, oiling up his arms and just the way he gets past people and stuff. Him like intent maximum. He does that, Lev.
He oils up his arms, yeah?
Yeah,
he does. So you can't
It's
catch
like
him.
watching. It's also like watching an NFL player play football. That's what it is.
So I love watching him. I'm actually disappointed I can't see him in the flesh because he's the sort of player I would like to see live, but I'm relieved for our fullbacks that they're not going to have to struggle with him. I hope with the fact that they're slightly weakened as a result of not having him, we get a result, but I'm nervous. I have to be honest. I'm really nervous. And the thing is, how deflated and disappointed we felt as fans by not adding anyone and seeing all these players leave. I wonder whether that would have had an impact on the current crop of players as well. Because no matter what we feel, we aren't the ones who are going to struggle more because of that. We're just there watching. I think that if I was a player, I'd be a little bit demoralised by that. And, the lack of ambition that I'm seeing around and, someone like seeing Callum Chambers go, trust me, he didn't want that. They're very good friends. And I think he would have enjoyed playing with him. He'd like having that squad depth and that person that he likes having around the camp. I just hope that the team that we see against Wolves are a team that not only believe that we can go and get top four, but I want the gauntlet to have been laid down to them that we expect you to go and really fight for that top four. None of this sixth is, an improvement on last season nonsense that I worry might be going on in the camp. So this Wolves game is not only very important in terms of 17 Cup finals, also it's important in terms of a reaction from the players in terms of where is your mind at and what can we expect for the remainder of the season. I'm nervous.
Yeah. Speaking of the game and everything, can I get a prediction? Moh?
1-1.
Lev?
Prediction? Pain. Listen, I really want my team to win. I don't care. I want us to win. I love my club, but I've just got this really bad niggling thing in the back of my head. I just think we're going to lose, and I don't really believe I'm saying it, but I do, and I hope I'm wrong. I really do, but I see us toiling and then Laka not scoring and then trying to figure out another way and maybe put Martinelli or whatever up front and bringing on Eddie is not something that inspires me. So
can I get a scoreline, Lev?
1-0 Wolves.
Now, had I said that, right? Everybody in the comments,
but it's unusual for me. It's unusual for me. Ask everyone in the chat. It's unusual for me. It's the first time I've ever predicted.
Why don't you give us your predictions in the chat as well, and obviously in the comments if you.
Shaheen, can I just say, right? This is why we need to keep scores of this and do a predictions league, because if people criticize you for being negative, but you sit at the top of that table, well, then you can just say, look, ultimately, the most accurate. It's not about negative. It's not about positive. It's about accuracy.
All right, you want to do it for the last 17?
Had we kept the scores, I probably would be in front now. Because
I was in front. I'd done 2 in a row. All right,
so you're right, Mo. I'll think of something. Maybe we can do something for the rest of the season.
Do you know that board you have in your room? Why don't you stick the scores chart on there?
Yeah, well, I don't have that anymore, do I?
All
Tom,
right. Replace your
me and Lev will work something out.
17 games.
Yeah.
You can always trust an account.
Mo's got a spreadsheet. Mo's all over this.
All right, so is there a forfeit for the guy that ends up bottom?
We'll think of one.
Or maybe the 3 losers go and treat the winner to something. Either we can do
I like
a lose
that.
or forfeit,
I like that.
or win a benefit.
Yeah, I enjoy people buying me stuff. So yeah, go on.
It's different now. So what? Lev said 1-0 Wolves.
Oh, what, we're
Most-
starting it from now, yeah?
Yeah,
Now
well,
we're starting
yeah,
it,
he's
yeah?
writing it down. No, it's done, Lev. You said 1-0 Wolves.
All right, so let
It's
me ask
done.
you, is there a couple of little things we need to iron out, though? So say, for example, it's not 1-0 Wolves, and it's 2-1.
get a
You
point
guys
for a
have all
result.
said, well, Arsenal were going to win. I still get that, surely. If that happens.
No. It's 3 points for the correct score, 1 point for the correct result.
Yeah.
Oh,
That's spot on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What
That
about
is
you,
it.
Tom? What's the score prediction for you?
3-1 Arsenal.
What? 3-1. Who's going to score those 3 goals, Tom?
Eddie and Ketia.
Martinelli, Xhaka, Smith Rowe, Odegaard. Look, I really think you guys have let the transfer window go to your heads, to be honest. I really do. I'm confident. We've got everyone. Partey and Xhaka are going to be back in the middle, which I know people may laugh at, but, you know, they're the pair
One
that started
red
against
card
City.
away from 3-match ban. Then what?
3-1 Arsenal. Look, Arsenal Manic in the chat, who's laughing. Look, you return. Return to this chat
clip this.
after we... Clip this. Clip this up. This is it. Like, 3-1
All right.
Arsenal.
Well, fair enough. Are you sure 3-1 Arsenal? You're not
Yeah, I'm
having us
working
somebody-
till midnight on that day, so we better bloody win. It's going to be a horrible shift if we don't.
I hope we
3-1.
win as well, Tom. Just, you know what I mean?
Of course, we all do.
I'm gonna say I was gonna say 1-1, same as Mo, but I'll go for a 0-0 draw.
Oh, so adventurous.
All right.
All right.
So what are we doing? Well, do you know what? The people in the comments, you let us know, right? Do you want the winner to be rewarded or the loser to be... Or do you want the winner to benefit or the loser to suffer? How shall we...
I think
How
the
can we,
bottom guy, the one with the worst record, should suffer. It's a league table, isn't it?
But
So
we should have maybe a
winner
few
should
different
win.
things.
No,
Depends
no,
on
no.
where you finish on the table, and then
if you're the worst,
decide.
you should suffer.
All right, so
This is it.
Lev, you're saying the worst should suffer. Tom, you're saying the winner should benefit. So you
Yeah.
I think we should have 2 or 3 different things. So if you finish
No, I
first,
don't.
obviously nothing. If you finish second, so and so. If you finish third, so and
What's
so. If
this,
you
the
finish
Olympics?
fourth, you're
No.
effed, really.
No, the way it works is the one that's at the bottom.
Well, listen,
get it.
we'll figure something out. And we'll do it because we've been going for about an hour and 10 minutes now. I'm just conscious of that. And I just want to round this off by just
Shaheen can
asking
sing the
something.
Iranian national anthem if he's bottom. No?
Racism.
Racism?
Shame on you, Lev.
Oh my god.
No, I'm just joking. Listen, I just want to round this show up by asking you guys. So now, obviously, transfer window is done. Everything is done. Where do you expect Arsenal to finish? Not where do you want Arsenal to finish? Where do you expect us to finish? Tom.
5th.
Not even a
Lev?
blink.
Mo?
Sheesh.
I don't know, between 5th or 6th.
Did I even get a chance to answer that before you moved to Mo?
No, I'm just going the
Lev,
other way
Mo,
around.
what do you think?
Lev, don't care about you, Mo.
Mo. You want me to come back to you?
6th.
6th. Lev?
Yeah, 6th.
Shaheen?
I'll
Tom?
say. Are you writing this down as well?
I'm writing it down.
Oh, I'll tell you, there's going to be a spreadsheet very soon.
Yeah, it's definitely Tom.
I'll say
What are you saying?
Excel all over it.
I'll say
my
5th as
days.
well.
5th, all right.
5th or 6th is very difficult. Very difficult. But yeah, I'll say.
I thought you were going to say
I'm
like
gonna
9th, to be honest, Shaheen. I thought you were going to say
It's
9th,
ever since they've
so-
started going on about his negativity, he started to try and be
Yeah.
more positive.
No.
hasn't he?
You know what?
Try and-
I'll
try and
fuck it, I'll
change
change
for
it.
the fans,
Mo,
isn't
put
he?
me down
Behind the
7th.
curtains is a giant Arteta poster. That's what's behind
Yeah,
those
it
curtains.
is. It is.
Looking like
I've
Kim
got a pillow that's
Jong-un.
got Arteta's picture, and I hug it and I sleep at night.
And we need to think of a good reward or...
Shaheen has to shave his head.
for this.
Why? Just because you don't have hair,
Yes.
you have to come up with something
Exactly
like
that.
that.
Exactly
No.
that, yes.
No, mate.
I'll don a wig if you
Even
want.
if I shave it off, right, it will come back on like this, all nice and neat.
I just don't like
you know,
those
some
Superman
people that will
curls. I
never
don't like
go-
those
If
Superman curls.
Lev loses, he has to do a whole season of pods without a cap on, like with no hat.
I've got
Just
no problem taking my cap off anyway. I
Right,
just
fine,
wear
then
it for
in that
fashion.
case, then you have to
For
shave
fa-
off your
for
eyebrow.
There you
fashion.
go. Look at that.
Hey,
Whoa, the light, man. Put it back on. Put it back on.
Oi,
The light
Danny
reflection is
Zuko.
blinding me.
Leave it out.
Wait. Take that off again.
Yo, gold grease lightning.
Take that off again, Lev.
Why am I going to take it off now? Just put my head on. I'll put my head
I
on.
tell you, when I say who your doppelganger is,
Oh,
you need to
shit.
see it.
yeah, go on,
I'm not taking it off again.
No,
I've just
come
got...
on.
What is the problem? It's a bald head. Look.
Ivan Gazidis. Ivan Gazidis.
That is bang on.
Wait, that's the forfeit. If Shaheen ends up less than me, right? If he gets the worst, he shaves his head. If I lose, I have to wear a wig.
No,
like Shaheen
no,
did.
man, I'm not. No, I'm not agreeing with this shit. No. By the way, I just remembered. You, young man, you owe me 20 quid because Aubameyang has now left. Remember the bet me and you had? I think these guys were on as well. You said Aubameyang will score more than 15 goals.
Yeah, well, he can't score now. He's been sold. There was no
man. No. He said you owe me 20 quid.
Oh my days! All right, you can have 20 quid, man.
Anyway,
whatever.
Tom, last final thoughts.
Always a pleasure, as per joining you guys every week. We've covered a lot today. We went kind of deep at the start, and then went into the football stuff afterwards, which is the other way around. Yeah. So I'm looking forward to seeing Arsenal batter Wolves 3-1 on Thursday, and just everyone's going to be sitting in the muds. I can't wait for the Monday show. Otherwise, this is going to get clipped up and I'm going to look blooming stupid. So fingers crossed that we do win. So I've really gone hard on this one. But pleasure as always, boys. And I'll see you next week.
Thank you. Mo?
I literally am just shocked at how much Lev looks like Ivan Gazidis. I just can't believe it. I want you to show us one more time. It's incredible.
What the hell is this?
I'm not right? Tom,
no. Otherwise, I'm going to start requesting. I have revealed myself. Do you guys want to do the same? Like, is there anything you want to show us that I don't know about? No. I'm not asking you, am I?
I don't know what you're talking about.
Get over yourselves. Yeah, exactly.
What would we reveal?
Who knows? I've heard you've got a third nipple, Tom. Shaheen, he's lack of abs, should we say.
Do you want me to stand up and turn around?
That's hardly a standout feature, is it? Lack of abs.
Lack of abs is a standout feature for me, mate. I'll tell you that right now.
You can do better than that, man. You can do better than that coming back at us, man.
Coming back at you.
I expect a lot more.
Just get on
from
with
you,
it,
bro.
Grease Lightning. Can we just move on with it now?
No. I expect more from you, man. You can do better than that.
Oh, my God. It's
Mo,
systematic.
your final thoughts?
Listen, let's just go and beat Wolves, man. I really, really want a positive end to the season. And the fact of the matter is now, they say, when the going gets tough, the tough get going. The going's going to get tough. It's that business end. Every single game, a lot of pressure, an awful lot of scrutiny. And let's see who stands up. My worry with this very young team has always been, are they going to be robust enough mentally to deal with those pressures at the business end of the season? These last 17 games are going to tell us that. When teams are churning out wins week on week, and that pressure, it builds, and some people fold. And generally, it's the youngsters that fold, and we've got a very young team. Hopefully, they can...
are we bringing stuff up now, Shaheen? Okay, let me bring this one up then. I heard Shaheen, Danny Zuko, got a 32cm schlong, the negative beast. There you go.
Bro, what's wrong with this?
Sorry. Sorry.
No. What's wrong with you looking like Mark Strong?
I'm just saying, if you want to bring things up, then I'll bring things up too. No, Mark Strong's alright.
It's not like the guy is cussing you, Lev. The guy is a good actor, man.
I know he is. But I wanted to bring something up too, so I did.
Jeez. All right. But touchy today, Lev, isn't it?
No, not at all, man. I'm not.
The look of appreciation on Mo's face when he saw a picture of Mark Strong.
Who's Mark Strong? Gazidis is a better shout.
I think
Gazidis, do not mark me as a Gazidis, mate. Come on now.
So what? You don't want Mark Strong is not good. Gazidis is not
I didn't
good.
say Mark Strong's not good.
What would you like to be referred to as, Lev?
Mark
Since you're the one who started
Mark
this
Strong's
one.
alright. He's a good actor, Mark Strong. He's good.
So why are you having a fit when I put it on?
A fit?
Yeah, look, I'm going to put something on as well.
Oh, look, Shaheen, that's so cute. You're trying to have me up online. That's really good, man.
No, I'm not, man.
Move on, bro. Just move on.
Next week's Arsenal Lounge will be hosted by Just Tom and Mo.
Yeah,
look, he's a gooner as well.
I know. Danny Zuko's a gooner as well.
Fousey tube, someone put in the chat. That's quite good.
Just like, let me live kid.
Lev, your final thoughts?
Yes!
All right, my final thoughts is,
good.
guys, whenever you're not sure, boldly go where no man has gone before. That's it.
Good.
That's my final thoughts. It's good enough for Star Trek, good enough for me.
on that lovely note, I just want to thank everybody who watched us on Arsenal Lounge and obviously on Moh's channel, because it was a stream through both channels. Don't forget to subscribe. Don't forget to comment. Tell us your thoughts on where do you expect Arsenal to finish and your prediction for the Wolves game. And hopefully Arsenal will win and will put a smile on our face. Maybe me and Lev will do it after game reaction.
I ain't talking to you no more, man. Just can we just finish now?
Okay, but, do you want to do the business so we can run?
Do I want to do the business? Guys, let's hope in 3 days' time that we've got a decent result. Do you know what I mean? Like we win this game and we come back quick. You guys in the chat, we love you, loungers, all bit of banter. We love all of this stuff. So just keep supporting us. If you haven't smashed the likes, please do so. If you haven't subscribed, why not? We got shows coming up this week, Sheen. We got one on Wednesday.
Yeah, Wednesday, maybe after game reaction, and then obviously back again Monday.
And then Sheen on Fridays will be doing a new podcast, Curtains of Africa, and we'll be coming to you soon. And that's about it, really.
So you deserve everything that you get.
Are you going to try and put something up now? Are you? Can we just?
No, I'm not saying nothing.
Guys, look, let's make it fair. We all get something here. Kim B, we've got Chubby Laporte.
I've been called this before. When I was on with you, Izzy, everyone was like, "That's a fat Eric Laporte." That's
hilarious.
Look at Arsenal Manic. There you go. I look better than Mark Strong, actually. No homo.
Then we've got Danny Zuko, who I need to Google. Then we've got Mark Strong and Mo. And if you think, Mo's got away with it.
Is there anything for Mo? Anything for Mo? Who's that guy?
Next comment is Mo.
I've got one for Mo. I have got one for Mo. Wait, before we go, can I have one for Mo?
I've just got Anton Ferdinand, for God's sake.
Oh my God.
Anton Ferdinand?
That's what
No, he is not Anton Ferdinand. He is not. I've just thought about it. Right, there's an actor. If anyone here watches Man Like Mobeen, has anyone seen that?
Yeah.
Yeah? There's cast. Let's have a look at the cast. What's the guy's name? The one with the beard. Skinny lad with a beard.
That is hilarious.
Do you know who I mean?
No,
Who's the skinny guy with a beard in Man Like Mobeen? Anyone know his name? Let us know.
Tez Ilias.
Is it Tez Ilias? Yeah, that's it. You look like Tez Ilias.
Hakim Ziyech.
Tez Ilias. Who is Tez Ilias?
I don't
Right.
What do you mean don't get it? He's Asian and he's got a beard. Is that not enough?
You know what? We're gonna carry this on off show now.
Yeah.
We're just gonna sit down and Google.
This is so charming. We've got people watching, yeah? Yeah, it's
thank
definitely
you guys
Tez Ilias.
for joining in. Have a wonderful evening, and then hopefully we'll see you next week Monday.
Bruno Fernandes.